Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to skip the usual headlines about Italy and dig right into the hard data and the landmark decisions that are really shaping its future. We're going to look at the paradoxes and the progress of this economic and legal powerhouse.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll get a handle on the sheer scale of Italy's economy. Then we'll dive into the deep internal divides that kind of define it. From there, we'll see how the country is investing in its people, we'll check out some major legal shifts in civil rights, and we'll wrap up with its single biggest challenge, competitiveness.
Okay, so let's jump right in with the numbers, because some of these are truly staggering, and they really define Italy's economic muscle. 6 trillion euros. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the financial wealth of Italian households in 2024. It's a historic milestone. And to put that into perspective, it's grown by almost 30% since before the pandemic. That's a massive accumulation of capital in just a few short years.
And this growth isn't just people stashing cash away. Key sectors like the blue economy, and that's everything from shipbuilding to coastal tourism, are actually outperforming the national average. They're growing, even while other business areas have been shrinking.
But, and this is a big but, those huge headline numbers, they hide some really deep divisions running right through the country. It's almost like we're talking about two different Italys. And look at this slide just lays it bare. The average person up in Milan has more than 5 times the savings of someone down in Croton. It's just a stark, powerful illustration of that deep economic divide. And this isn't just about money, right? It's a gap in infrastructure, which, let's be real, is everything for future growth. As you can see, the vast majority of electric vehicle charging points are all packed into the north, which leaves the south way behind on this critical technology.
And we see the exact same story when it comes to business potential. The north has nearly 3 times as many companies with untapped, export-ready potential as the south. That is a huge, unrealized economic resource, and it's almost entirely concentrated in just one half of the country. So the big question is, how is Italy trying to bridge these gaps? Well, the focus seems to be on investing in 2 of its most important assets, its people and their homes. So let's start with education. And the data here, it's crystal clear. Having a degree really pays off. On average, university graduates earn over 40% more than non-graduates. That's a huge premium, and it really underscores the value of higher education.
But here's the catch. It is a long-term investment. The real financial kick from that degree doesn't really show up until you're about a decade into your career. In fact, studies show it takes at least 12 years just to break even on the cost of the education itself. And then there's the other huge hurdle for young people, buying a house. It's often not the monthly mortgage payments that are the killer. It's scraping together that massive initial down payment. For many, it's just impossible without a lot of help from family. So, to try and fix this, the government has stepped in with a special guarantee fund just for young people and families. What it does is basically remove the biggest roadblocks to buying that first home, offering 100% financing, which gets rid of that down payment problem altogether. Okay, so it's not just the economy that's in flux. Italy's legal landscape is also going through some massive transformations, especially when you look at civil rights and personal protections. A recent constitutional court ruling forced the country to ask a really fundamental question. What does it actually mean to be a parent? And the answer led to a landmark decision. And the court's logic was actually pretty straightforward. They found that denying legal status to the non-biological mother was simply not in the best interest of the child. They argued it violated the child's constitutional right to have a clear, stable legal family status right from birth. And the real-world impact of this is huge. Before this ruling, non-biological mothers were stuck in a bureaucratic nightmare just to do the most basic parenting tasks. The only other option was a years-long, expensive adoption process just to be recognized as the parent of their own child. But, and this is super interesting, the court isn't just moving in one direction on this stuff. In a separate ruling on the same day, the court said it is not unconstitutional for the law to deny single women access to medically assisted reproduction. They basically left that decision up to the lawmakers. Okay, now let's shift gears completely to another area of law. The government has taken direct action to deal with rising violence against school staff. A new amendment to the criminal code was passed because of an increase in assaults, not just from students, but, and this is pretty troubling, from parents too. So when you put all this together, the economic contrasts, the legal shifts, what's the key to Italy's future competitiveness? Well, one major report suggests the answer isn't just about money or laws, but about one single idea: cohesion. So, what's holding competitiveness back? Well, this number is a pretty big clue: 17,000. What is that? That's the number of Italian companies that have all the potential to become consistent exporters, but for whatever reason, they just haven't. It's a massive, untapped economic resource just sitting there. And this gets to the heart of the matter. The idea is that businesses that build strong connections with their employees, with their local communities, even with their competitors, those are the ones that end up being more innovative, more resilient, and, yeah, more profitable. And the data backs this up big time. These cohesive companies are way more likely to invest in the future. They're the ones driving the green and digital transitions, and they're the ones putting money into R&D. So this really leaves us with one big final question. For Italy, the path to a stronger, more competitive future might not be about raw economic power. It might actually depend entirely on its ability to finally connect its two halves and build that sense of cohesion across the entire country.